Hey guys, it's Jay. Welcome back to my channel. If you found yourself here from last week's video or any other video, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. Make sure if you like this content or any of my other content to subscribe and to hit the social links in my description below. If you haven't come here from my Instagram or my last video, just a little bit of background. I underwent the vertical sleeve gastrectomy last week. I am on 8 days post-op as of today, and I've been documenting my journey. I will link my past video down below, so if you want to check out my journey and see what happened, you can have a look at that. Or my video from 2 weeks ago. Actually, I was supposed to do a hospital vlog. I'll get into that in a minute. But I've just been so far talking about my experience with why I've come to do the sleeve and what the process was with the pre-op diet. So if you want to catch up on those things, definitely check my last video. Last week, I was supposed to do a hospital vlog for the time that I was at the hospital, and I'm going to get into today what happened while I was at the hospital and why that video never happened. But before I do that, I do want to explain what happened at the hospital. So pretty much, I think I summarized a little bit in my last video. Sleeve surgery is when they remove 75 to 85% of your stomach through keyhole surgery, so little incisions instead of big open surgery. You're left with 15 to 25% of your stomach, which you should be eating 4 ounces or 120 to 125 mils, which is half a metric Australian cup. So that's what I've done, and I'm 8 days out. I'm holding down my liquids. I'm on my liquid diet at the moment. I can have clear liquids like apple juice and water, but I can also have milk. I've had a Big M, just one. It's the only non-clear liquid I've had, and it was so nice to have something that wasn't clear. But going back to the hospital. So I'll start with the hospital. Pretty much with the hospital, I arrived at my admission time, which was 12 p.m. I filled out paperwork, get into my gown and everything. I went up to holding and I was there for a while, and they were putting heat packs on my hands and a whole bunch of other crazy stuff just to prepare me. I had to give my full name and date of birth 1,000,001 times to prove my consent form over and all of that. So I went up, I was in holding, I went into my surgery at 3 p.m. and I think I was out into my room again, leaving recovery at 5 to 5:30. From there, I pretty much just remember sleeping and trying to rest through the night. I did have quite a rough night, which a couple of people have asked about in the Q&A section of this, so I'll go into a little bit more detail later. But essentially, I was there Thursday night, Friday night, and came home Saturday afternoon after I saw my surgeon on Saturday morning. I was keeping down my fluids and I just wanted to get out of there. So yeah, I had a bit of a rough start at the hospital the first couple of days, but looking at other people who did their surgery at the same hospital, the same kind of time as me, we've all lost the same amount of weight, we're all keeping down liquids. I'm making progress just like any other person. So that's something that's definitely been great. I feel like I'm so far away. I thought I would change this up a little bit. I think that's a bit better. Yeah, so coming home, I just had to adjust to stretching my torso out a little bit and kind of sleep on the recliner because it was very similar to a hospital bed, and progressively made my way to sleeping in my bedroom on my bed. I slept on my stomach partially for the first time last night, which I thought I was going to be a few weeks away from, and as a tummy sleeper, I was not excited about that, but all is well. And I'm getting closer and closer to keeping 125 mils of liquid down without discomfort, which is the goal for me to be at by the end of my 2 weeks. So I'm getting closer and closer to that, which is fantastic. So everything's going well. And I appreciate everyone's support. So many people reached out on my Instagram. So many people are looking at my Instagram stories about my liquid diet. I will show a little bit of what that's been like. It's been amazing to have you guys supporting me. I appreciate it so much. It's been such an enjoyment full time, and we'll keep all of my things on my story and in my sleeve story or my sleeve highlight. But yeah, that first day, everyone reaching out, wishing me well, hoping I'm okay, wishing me speedy recovery. I appreciate it so much. So thank you for your support with this. It's been amazing and really humbling and so sweet. On the same Instagram highlight and stories that I was talking about, I actually put a opportunity out for everyone to ask me some questions. So I thought I'll answer a couple of questions so that you guys can find out what you want to know about my experience overall. I am speaking from personal experience, which is no experience at all to base your own decisions on. And if you want to know anything more personalized about the sleeve surgery at all, please make sure you make a consultation with your GP, get a referral to a weight loss surgeon, and speak to them about what's best for you. But without further ado, let's see what everyone had to ask me about my experience. So number one is, how was your hospital experience? In terms of service and cleanliness and what I would expect from a general hospital, I had a pretty good experience. I really enjoyed the hospital that I was in. I'm glad my surgeon operates out of a fantastic hospital. In terms of how I felt when I was in the hospital, I didn't do too great. I've also been asked what's the hardest part. The hospital was probably the hardest part. I was not expecting to turn around the way I did when I woke up from surgery. I've seen a lot of people turn around and be able to walk around like nothing's wrong after their surgery. I've seen people go downstairs in their gown for a smoke after the day after their surgery. I was definitely expecting a more full recovery in my time in the hospital than I actually got. It may have had something to do with anesthetic, with the actual surgery, because it has tampered with one of my major organs and one of the strongest muscles in my body. Or it might have had something to do with the pain relief they were giving me. Either way, I was quite sick and quite unwell every half an hour, every hour, every 2 hours. For my first night to 2 nights, maybe it's spaced out over time, but like my stay during the hospital, other than my last half a day before I was discharged, was quite unpleasant, and that was probably the hardest part. But the hardest part is over now, and I definitely consider the fact that it was worth it. Some people just handle things differently, and it was my first surgery. I didn't know what to expect, and yeah, it's worked out in the end. Also, something else that was the hardest part of all of this, there's something you have to do on your second day for an x-ray, which is called a swallow test. And I had to swallow this gluggy, really strong licorice stuff and pretty much x-ray my stomach from 4 different angles. And that was so bad. I think most people throw it up, and I definitely did. It was so bad. I'm just so grateful I got my scans down first try, so I didn't have to do it again. So that was also probably the hardest part. But all of that taken into account, still worth it, 100%. All right, I've also been asked, what is the most exciting part? I guess depending on what is meant to be exciting, the hospital-wise, I definitely was not as nervous as I expected to be, and the hospital food that I was supposed to keep down definitely wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. Has it been a positive or a negative experience so far? It's definitely been a positive experience. I'm turning around better and better each day, and I have some awesome and amazing support networks around me. So it's definitely made the transition easier, and I'm only excited to keep transitioning further with the different phases of my diet to get back to a general diet. So really exciting. What is something that has happened to you that you didn't expect? What did you expect didn't happen? So definitely being sick and unwell caught me off guard. I was really worried and concerned, but I was also like on anti-nausea and pain relief, so I didn't really notice it for the most part. I kind of got over it, but I was really worried and confused why that was happening. Something that I expected to happen that didn't, and I'm grateful for, is one of my biggest nerves during the lead up to the surgery was anesthesia awareness, which is when you can mentally wake up during surgery, but physically you can't. So there's really no way to alert the doctors around you. I was really nervous, and I'm so glad that didn't happen. One of my friends checked in on me and was like, "Did you wake up?" And I'm so glad that I didn't, although it would have been a really awesome story, but not worth it. What are the next steps in the process? This is my favorite part. The next steps in the process is pretty much for 2 weeks, I am on a full liquid diet. I can have anything that'll come up a straw, essentially, other than alcohol. Sorry, no vodka raspberry for me. But after 2 weeks, if I can keep 125 mils, or the easiest way to measure is half a cup of liquids down without discomfort, so no pain, no upset tummy, I guess little to no burping, which is something that I've had a lot. If I can have 125 mils in 15 minutes without any of that, then I'm allowed to progress to my mashed stage or the puree stage. It all depends on who your dietitian is, what that stage is called. But I'm pretty much looking at yogurts, custard, very fluffy scrambled eggs, meat that's minced down very, very, very small, so like a bolognese. And then once I can keep half a cup of that down, which is estimated to be a week, could be longer, could be shorter, I can then go to soft foods. So I can put some Philly cheese and some tuna on a crust-kit. I can eat said crust-kit. Again, once I can keep down that half a cup amount, I can then slowly start working my way to a general diet and I'll be able to eat normally again. But I might struggle to eat fresh bread or chicken or red thick meat like steak for a while, so only time can tell what will happen with those things. I can't really guess. There's no time factor that's correct for every single person. So that's what I'll be doing from here. I also will probably be doing not so much weigh-in videos because I really don't want to make my experience with this about weight, because it was about overall health when I went in. It was about my PCOS, it's about my hair, it was about a lot of things, and there's so much of this journey to go. This is literally just the start. So I won't be really weighing in very often, but I will be making at least another 2 or 3 more videos on this. Make sure to thumbs up if you want to see heaps more content like this, because I'm happy to do it. I just don't want to focus on sleeve stuff specifically, because this is a part of my life. It's not my whole life. A lot of people actually asked, and this is like the final thing I want to cover, I guess, or the second last thing I want to cover, the pricing for the surgery and the weight limit to be able to do this surgery. Now, weight limit, I don't even want to answer because I feel like that can be negative no matter which way I approach it. Simply, if you are desperate to know, speak to your GP, and if they refer you onto a weight loss surgeon, don't push for a surgery unless you and all of the professionals around you are certain that that's what you need to do. Generally, even at the weight I was at when I started, which was 132.5 kilos, a lot of people would probably be recommended to do the lap band, but the sleeve has increased in popularity and there were very particular other health reasons that I pushed to do the sleeve, and my surgeon was happy to do the sleeve. That is not necessarily going to be the case for everyone, so definitely speak to a surgeon. You can get feedback on surgeons to see on the internet if you want to see someone specific. And pricing depends on a lot of factors. There's a few ways to pay for this surgery. You can pay to go through the private sector and pay upfront. Definitely probably the most expensive way. You can go through the public system, which includes waiting lists. You can use private health insurance, but you're probably going to need to have like one of the top health covers for that. And also, some people may be able to access their superannuation if they have enough superannuation aside. Your situation is your situation, and you finance your surgery the way that you want to finance it. Alrighty, the last question that I was given was, what piece of advice would you give to someone who is considering weight loss surgery, considering the sleeve in particular? I definitely would say like a couple of pieces of advice. One is definitely that this is, regardless of it being keyhole, a decent surgery. And if you're expecting it to be swift, don't. If it ends up being swift, that's great, but it could really knock you down, and it's okay. Don't stress. Second of all, don't waste a good opportunity. I have read a lot of cookbooks. Like I've read this book. I ordered this on booktopia.com.au before I went into hospital, and it arrived the day I went into hospital. But I've read it this week, and a lot of books and a lot of things you will read is avoid everything, make sure that you're only eating healthy, perfect. Don't go over your half cup measurement. There's a lot of pressure. I would say don't waste it, but also you're being given the opportunity to learn moderation. So if you want to be able to enjoy things, that's okay. I know my personal outlook on this is the fact that I'm not hungry right now and I'm not craving anything, because I have no real hunger hormone access in my stomach or whatever has happened. I have the opportunity to learn self-control and like really embrace moderation, and that's what I want to do. If you go back to your normal eating habits or you stretch your stomach, you might waste a really good opportunity. But also, if that happens, it doesn't mean that you've failed either. So definitely don't waste an opportunity. Experiment with food. And the last piece of advice I have is don't listen to everything you see on forums and on the internet. Don't be afraid to contact the professionals around you, because they have the best advice and the best support for you. Alrighty, that is all I have for today. I'm really sorry if this video is like hella low energy compared to usual. I am still under the sun. I'm pretty much just living in my favorite blankie on the couch and watching Veronica Mars from season 1. I haven't done a whole lot. I'm getting better each and every day. My relatives will call me every couple of days and be like, I'm so surprised to hear you're doing so well, and like, you sound so happy. But you know, I'm still recovering. I've still got incisions healing that can cause pain, and I am a little bit more low energy, but in the next couple of weeks, I've got some really cool things planned. So you will see them really soon, and I'm really excited to show you my life from here and get back to business as usual. Again, if you want to get in contact with me, the best place to find me is probably on my Instagram, which is at itsjfrancis0, which it also is on all platforms. They are linked below. And also make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can be notified when my new videos are out. I will see you next week in my new video when I'm doing a lot better and hopefully eating pureed food. Bye guys.